Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. Joining me at the desk, as always, the two best, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. Bunch of great fights, interesting fights coming up. Luth started off with George Kambosos, 20-0, 10 knockouts, versus Devin Haney, 27-0 and 15 knockouts. June 4th for the WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF Junior Welterweight title, and it's going to be on ESPN, which I'm very glad about. Luther, it's all yours.
Yeah, this fight, Devin Haney's been campaigning to go for undisputed for years. Finally, he backed Kambosos in the corner. I think the deal that he signed is a bad deal. 3 fights, he has to fight Kambosos twice. Kambosos, he's won his last 3 fights by split decision. Now he's back in Australia. We'll see what happens. Disappointed, Devin Haney's dad is not over there yet. They wouldn't let him over. They're still, and he's the lead trainer. So I'm kind of worried about that.
tried to help him get him over, try to pull some strings. That's what they said.
I don't believe that. Who? Bob Arum is trying to pull some strings. Kambosos doesn't want him over there. You know, he wants to make it as difficult as possible.
Right.
Should be a great fight. Devin Haney, very skilled, a great boxer. Kambosos had a great fight against Teofimo Lopez. It should be a classic fight. I had Devin Haney 7-5 when I looked at it before. I got to see if his dad gets over there because I could play a little mind.
You think it'll make that much of a difference?
I think it can be. He's never fought without his dad in his corner. This is his biggest fight in his life in another country. Now, he did start his career, like Jim says, in Mexico.
I ain't know
at a
Haney's
young
lips
age.
was as big as it was.
Oh, dang.
Steve Harvey.
You act like you want to kiss him, Jim. Why are you looking at that man's
I
lips?
didn't know. I didn't know.
All right, man. I'll let you take
Well
that.
up.
That's Smoking Jim talking about a man's lips. God, dog.
That's a first. That's a first.
Wow.
Anyway, I think it's going to be a good competitive fight. Maybe I shouldn't say that. The only thing I worry about is the home cooking.
Yeah.
That's what I worry
Those judges and us. Listen, if you could rob Manny Pacquiao over there,
You
you
rob
can
anybody.
rob
That's
Devin
right.
Haney.
Now,
He's gonna
well
have to school him and drop him. I think one
He's
time,
going to,
or
have
he's not
to,
going to get a
I'm with
decision.
you, Luther. He's going to have to drop him. I think it's going to be a good competitive fight, entertaining fight. And again, I'm really excited. It's on ESPN. I'm very happy about that. Again, I hope nothing crazy happens because you don't need, boxing has enough black guys, and you don't need anymore. I forgot which fight it was when Stephen A. Smith and Teddy Atlas were on. And they were on like for hours just going back and forth about all the bad decisions in boxing. You remember that?
I remember
it,
that.
It was great entertainment, but you know, boxing doesn't need that. And I'm hoping that's not the case.
Yeah, Atlas was talking about the Canelo fight, the scoring in that fight. He said it should have been much bigger for Bivol.
Yeah.
You know, so Atlas, I like what he's saying. That's
he's
why he
very
doesn't
open
always
about
come
it.
on because he's telling the truth. Those
You want
scores
to
in
do
the
predictions?
Canelo.
Want to do
Bivol,
predictions?
Hey, I'm going to say Devin Haney, 7-5.
Okay.
Domination. I think he's going to win that.
Decision. Okay.
And I think he can drop Kambosos. I think we're
Oh,
going to see
yeah,
some
he
power.
definitely can.
I think I'm going to see some power. Devin Haney, I think, puts him down. It'll be a close decision. I think he's going to dominate, but I think on the cards it'll just be 7-5. Devin Haney.
I'm going with Kambosos and a decision. And we're not going to ask you any questions today. The next fight, Steve. No, go ahead. But okay, your thoughts on Kambosos?
I gotta agree with Claudio. Boxing got enough black eyes and black lips. Hey, listen, I bet Devin Haney's dad don't try to sneak over there. Listen, in Japan, if Japan threw LeVar Ball's son in jail for 6 months for stealing sunglasses,
He didn't go to jail for 6 months.
He would face
Smokopedia.
machine gunfire, Haney's dad. But listen, I really like Devin Haney. 27-0, 15 knockouts. I think no matter where he fights, I think that he'll convincingly win this fight. Nothing to take away from George. You got to give him credit for fighting somebody like a Devin Haney.
He didn't want
in his
to.
first title defense.
Kinda had to, didn't
You know,
Yeah, he
in
was
his
forced into
in
it.
his hometown. But it should be a great fight. I'm shocked that it's on ESPN.
I am
I'm
as
very
well.
proud. Maybe they heard us last week when we talked about growing up, animals, Fletcher, and all those guys. You know,
Well, see,
Bobby
that's what
Chaz used to
boxing
fight
needs.
then, yeah.
You know, I mentioned, you know, with the black eyes of boxing, with the bad decisions and things like that, and that hurts the game. This type of fight, putting it on, you know,
ESPN,
TV,
yeah.
right? That elevates it. You, again, last week you mentioned all these great names,
Yes.
and they weren't like Hall of Famers.
Right,
Some of the guys you
right,
mentioned,
yeah.
you know, Frank
Exciting
Animal
fights.
Fletcher, James the Heat Kinchin. We can go on and on. Guys who were on TV all the time, and you like them. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
that's what boxing needs. So these guys are familiar with so fans are familiar with these fighters.
The champ, Sean Grady.
Sean Grady, yeah.
Grady.
So you think Haney in a decision?
Yeah, I would say Haney.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm really excited about it. And again, I'll repeat, when I heard it was on ESPN, really got excited. You guys want to come down? Welcome to come down.
Yeah, I'm there.
All right. A guy that you talk about all the time. There's a few guys that you're really high on from day one, and this young man is one of them, Stephen Fulton.
Stephen
20-0,
Fulton, yes.
8 knockouts versus Daniel Roman, 29-3-1, 10 knockouts for the WBC, WBA bantamweight title on June 4th. Luther, your
Well,
thoughts?
we know Jim's not going to like him because he has a beard.
I thought
We
you were
already
saying
know
he's
that.
bantamweight. Okay.
But Stephen Fulton out of Philly, Jim, you should remember we covered him a number of times when they used to come in and fight the Pittsburgh fighters. Great skill, not a lot of power. He can do everything. He can go on the outside, he can go on the inside. 20 wins, only 8 KOs. Fighting Danny Roman. I think he gets it again. He's the best at 122 that I've seen there. He can do it all. He goes in the pocket. He can go on the outside. You know, I wish he would sit down on some of his punches a little more, but he's a complete fighter. And I think he's going to get the victory. It'll be another decision.
Okay.
8 rounds to 4. I got Stephen Fulton winning this one. And he'll capture the WBC and WBA super bantamweight, 122. Should be a solid fight because Ramon can fight.
He's tough.
But Stephen Fulton's at another level at 122, in my opinion.
I have Fulton in a decision. I've seen him. I've seen some highlights. I don't know him as much as you do, and you saw him from the get-go. But I like him. The thing I like about him, he's taking things seriously. He's
Yeah.
not. He's not going to
Yeah.
be one of those guys who goes up and down in weight and has to lose a ton of. I just like his training habits. He's serious. He's still hungry.
Yes, he
He
is.
hasn't even
Yes, he
come
is.
close to making the money he's going to make. And when you're hungry and you're serious, you're going to be tough. I like Fulton in a unanimous decision. Ramon's going to have some moments, which is good for Fulton to test him a little bit, but I have Fulton. Jim?
What's the difference between 122 and 126?
4
But every
pounds,
2 or 3
genius.
pounds, we got
Yeah, they are
a
nitpicking.
different belt. Okay,
Right,
right.
I was just wondering, but I
You don't
agree.
like him because
I
he's
would-
from Philly
I would
and has a
agree-
beard.
I would agree with both
beard.
of you guys that you know this should be Fulton's time.
You don't know anything about Fulton.
And you saw
And
him.
you covered him.
Every time you talk about
You
Steve Fulton, you
covered
said, Jim, you saw him, Jim, like you're trying to convince him.
He wasn't big enough. He doesn't pay attention to guys under 140.
That's true.
All right. Another fight, Trevor Bryant, 22-0 and 15 knockouts against a guy that another guy that you like for a long time, Daniel Dubois, 17-1 and 16 knockouts for the WBA regular heavyweight title. Real quick, Trevor Bryant now is, I don't want to say he's training with, but he has Larry Holmes in his camp, trying to help him out with that jab,
Somebody told me
trying to help
Larry's
out.
losing it. Somebody told me. Somebody told me that at the state.
Like
Hall of
you,
Fame.
Jim?
Somebody
Come
told me
on,
that.
man.
I bet you Larry Holmes knows who Stephen Fulton
Right,
is.
right.
All right, your thoughts on the fighting prediction?
Listen, man, Trevor Bryant, one of the big fat boys in the heavyweight division. He fought another fat boy the last time. Great jab to
fisherman.
be that side. Yeah, the fisherman.
Thank you.
Great jab, but I was high on Daniel Dubois before he fought Joe Joyce. He showed me that he couldn't get away from a jab. I think he's improved. Trevor Bryant's jab isn't as good as Joe Joyce's. I'm going to go with the young boy. I'm going to go with Daniel Dubois. I think he beats Trevor Bryant by a knockout. I think he'll have a little more head movement, and he'll be able to catch Trevor Bryant with the right, an overhand
Wanna go
right.
the round?
Let me go 7th round KO for Daniel Dubois. I'm not impressed with Trevor Bryant at all.
I have Daniel Dubois, 8-round knockout. I think he knows after that sometimes after a loss you get better, physically and smarter. No, you have to turn it up. He has to be more aggressive than the last fight. And I think that I'm just not really impressed with Trevor Bryan. I think the best thing about him is he has Larry Holmes in his corner.
And Don King's promoted.
And Don King's promoting. Yeah, that helps.
And-
So I think he's
and
going to
got
have
that
to knock
belt.
him out. Am I right? He's going to have to knock him
Yeah.
out. I think Dubois was one of those guys who people had him on the fast track, maybe being a title contender guy down the road. They were talking about him and Baby Anderson, the young group coming up.
That UK
and then
style, he
that
wasn't
loss.
moving his head, and he couldn't get away from
He
that
got
jab.
caught. Yeah, well,
Busted
but
his
is
eye
he going to be able to
socket.
get away from this jab?
Well, this guy doesn't have the Joe Joyce jab. It's not
No,
as quick.
it's not as
as
heavy.
powerful. Exactly. So he'll be able to move, and this guy doesn't come in the best of shape. Joe
Right.
Joyce is the big juggernaut. You guys aren't high on him. I am.
No, we're not.
I'm
Do you
high
think
on him.
that Dubois comes in aggressive right off the
Yeah.
get-go? He has to.
He was aggressive at the beginning of that Joe Joyce fight.
He got
But
hit
then
a
that
few
jab,
times, yeah.
stopped him in his tracks.
You can refer to your notebook if you'd like.
Okay, thanks. Trevor, the contender, Brian. I tell you what, a lot of people underestimate this guy because he's 6'4".
'Cause he's fat.
Daniel 6'5". I tell you what, it's going to be a very good fight. These guys are stepping up to fight one another, and I tell you what, I'm going to side with the guy with a 94% knockout ratio. I'm going with Daniel double D.
About time you woke up.
And what you want to go with a round?
I would say it's hard to knock out a champion, and Trevor.
Who did he beat to get that belt, Jim?
Trevor the Dream, Brian is a champion. It's hard, so I would say 11th,
Ooh,
10th
late
or
one.
11th round. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
okay.
hard. Hey,
He narrowed it down, Luth.
yeah, it's hard to when you're undefeated, man. It's hard to give up that O.
All right. A fight that a guy that I want to really give him a lot of credit and really like him even more is Edgar Berlanga. Nice fighter, but you're starting to convince me a little bit about are they propping him up? Are they trying? But I like him. I think he's
a top ranked
Yeah.
height job.
I'm hoping
We
not.
saw
I'm
him
hoping you're
dropped
wrong.
on that Wilder card.
Yeah. I'm hoping you're wrong.
He had that nice streak. He was knocking out a bunch of bums. It was a bum of the month club. He was knocking them out in one round.
Right.
Now he's fighting better guys, and these guys, you're not going to get any better fighting this guy. Look at no defense. He's just waiting to catch a punch.
Are you
looking
leaning
to fall down.
towards him being a hype or a good fighter?
He's going to have to improve. Right now, he's all hype.
Okay.
There's a lot of things. He doesn't have a lot of head movement. His stamina is questionable. You take him in deep rounds, he doesn't look as good. He has a long way to go.
Does he have the ability?
I believe he has the ability. Is he going to put in the training and everything? I'm not sure. He does have the ability, but he's going to have to take his training more seriously. And they're going to have to put him in with different styles because we've seen him exposed a couple times.
Or don't put him in with certain styles. Put him in against certain styles.
Top Rank knows how to move a guy and get him a nice record, and they're really not as great as we thought they were.
Who do you like in the fight? Against
Edgar,
29-2 and
he's
23
going to
knockouts.
knock this Alexis Angulo out. Okay. I think it'll be a 5-round. He's perfect for him. He's not going to give him much competition. Berlanga destroys this guy in about 5 rounds.
Okay, I'm going to say 7 KO Berlanga. One thing I did like about Berlanga is at the end of his last fight, he wasn't real happy. I think it was kind of a wake-up call, and that's good to have a wake-up call when you win. Instead of getting clocked and knocked out, so man, I got to go back to the training board or drawing board. He won the fight. He knew there was some holes. He knows he can be better, and I think he's going to turn it up, as I always say. I have him in a 7-round knockout.
I tell you what, when you were growing up, you used to always get nervous for Sugar Ray Leonard fight.
Right.
And I get nervous when Edgar fights, man. I tell you what, man.
Why?
I'm nervous for
You
this
liked him
fight.
from the beginning, yeah.
Hey, listen, this is a young man that got all the talent in the world, all the star qualities. Number one, he's making a ton of money for somebody that's
Pocket
up
watching
and
Jim.
coming. He's making a ton of money.
Pocket watching
That's why he
Jim.
can afford so many trainers and managers and people in his ear. But I tell
Is
you
he
what, I'm
really?
worried about this experience, Alexis, with what you call him, Angula.
I guess. Yeah.
and I tell
You'll
you-
butcher the name in a minute.
This-
No matter what I call him, you're going to mess
Doesn't
it
matter,
up.
Luke.
This is a guy that fought David Benavidez
Right.
for the title and did pretty well. Edgar doesn't fight any stumble bumps. All the guys he fight are really good
Oh,
fighters.
beginning.
What are you talking
All
about?
the
The
guys
first
that-
15 was all
All the
bums.
guys, I tell you what, this is a guy that has a couple countries behind him. He got the big
Which
New York
countries?
City, Puerto Rico, And well, I guess that's part of the United States. I guess. Now.
You said countries.
Yeah. And he's back.
Jim will
he's
give
back
us a-
by this country.
He'll give us a
He's a
lesson.
doctor. He's not a
He'll give us a
teacher.
geography lesson in a minute,
But I
boy.
tell you what, Edgar got the heart of a champion. He'll find a way to get him another.
You
great
question his
Knock out
stamina
what round?
issues, Jim?
Pardon me?
You question his stamina issues. He looks every fight towards the end. He really starts
Because
struggling.
he's going to knock
bad.
him out early. That's
Yeah.
why. What do you think is what round?
I think he will probably, let's say, mid rounds.
Like
There
me
he
and Luther
goes.
had.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah.
But Luther, I know what you're saying. I think he goes into it. So I'm gonna knock these.
Yeah, he knocks these
And that's the bad thing when you get in those
He was in
15
that
knockouts.
run where he was knocking everybody out in
Yeah.
the first round, and then once he couldn't do it, he started to struggle.
Right. Well, we have some more fights when we come back. Artur Beterbiev is fighting. Charlo's fighting. Usyk, AJ. So we'll right back and cover those on the Boxing Authorities. Okay, welcome back to the Boxing Authorities. A fighter that I like a lot, and he's 17-0, 17 knockouts, and again, I always say he's for real. He's a serious fighter. Artur Beterbiev is fighting Joe Smith, who I'm not, he's a nice fighter. He's a good fighter. I'm not real high on him. This is for the WBC, IBF, WBO light heavyweight title on June 16th. Mr. Dupree.
This Artur Beterbiev is just a caveman out there. I mean, he goes to the body. He looks like a guy from back in the day that just goes to the body, doesn't get hurt. He's beaten everybody at 175. Joe Smith, he lost to Bivol, but he fought better than Canelo did. He gave
That's
a much
right.
better effort than Canelo did. But I don't think anybody's beaten this Beterbiev. He goes to the body, unless you're a mover, and Joe Smith really isn't a mover, you're going to struggle with him because if you stand toe-to-toe with this guy, you're going to catch something you don't want to get caught with, and you're going down. He hits too hard, broken ribs, busted eye sockets. Beterbiev is knocking this guy out. Joe Smith, I like him. I like his style, exciting fights, but he's getting knocked out in at least the 10th round, I believe, by Beterbiev.
Okay.
You just can't stand up to that type of punishment, and he's not a mover. He's
I'm
not a
with you
slick fighter who
1,000%.
ducks punches. You can't take that punishment.
What do
from
they
this caveman.
say? Styles make fights. Well,
Yeah.
this style is right for Beterbiev,
Yeah.
wrong for Smith. Luther, you hit it on the head. He's not going to move. He's going to be a stationary target. What do we say about Beterbiev? He's accurate. Well, why is he accurate? Because the guy don't move. Okay,
Guys who stand in front of him, he can just punish
and
those
and the thing
ribs.
about him, he goes to the head, goes to the body, and he, like you say, he just keeps coming forward. He's coming forward, and I think it's going to be, again, I think Smith is going to have some moments. But I think Beterbiev is going to catch him. I'm exactly with you. 10-round knockout, Beterbiev. Your thoughts on Beterbiev? You know what? Give me your thoughts on him as a fighter and this fight.
Well, I gotta agree with Luther. Again, we agree a lot.
No,
but
no,
I
we don't.
agree that this guy's like a caveman. The cavemen were very slow, and that's why when the women would run away, they couldn't catch them. They'd take them down with a rock. And I'm glad things are so much
How do
better
you know?
now.
Well, you
I'm so
weren't
glad-
around. You're not that old.
I'm so glad
Jim
things
just
are
makes
so
it
much.
up.
I'm
He'll
glad
make it
things
up.
are so much better now for the women than they were back in the caveman days. But we got a caveman here. This guy's slow.
Slow and powerful.
Slowest light heavyweight.
call everybody slow,
Slowest light heavyweight in the history of the game. I like Joe Smith. He knows how to fight. He got some losses, so he's used to that. But I think
got
that
He only got three.
Not 10.
I think that this is a fight in the wheelhouse of Beterbiev. I got Beterbiev winning this one.
A knockout.
Knockout,
decision,
decision,
split.
what's going to happen?
Majority.
I think he'll stop him on cuts.
Well, he's specific, Luth.
He getting his
Wow.
18th knockout or
Yes.
TKO this fight, that's for sure.
All right. Again, I've liked Beterbiev from the beginning. I like him a lot, and I don't. See, he's tough. He comes at you. He's serious. He
goes-
wants.
he goes
he's
to the
hungry.
body.
He's
not
got
the-
heavy hands.
Is he slow?
He hits hard and
he
goes
hit
to the
everywhere
body.
he
He
hits.
breaks you down.
Well, you give me that, he's
I will
slow.
say he's slow.
Okay.
I will say he's a slow puncher, but he's slow and
But
powerful.
everything he hits, I mean,
He hurts.
He hurts. Right. His jab hurts. His uppercut. Everything he does, he got some heavy hands. No, he's not the fastest guy.
Not everybody's going to have fast hands, Jim.
Right.
You say
This ain't
everybody's slow.
kickboxing. It's
You
boxing.
say everybody's
Fast
slow.
hands is a requirement.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
if you got
it's-
powerful.
Well, it helps.
Well, ask the 17 guys that he destroyed
Right.
before Joe
Well,
Smith.
all I know is recently they just sold Better Beef's 5-year speed bag as new.
That was good, Jay. That was
like
good, brother. I like that. That was his best line. I like that. All right. Jamal Charlo, 32-0, 22 knockouts versus former champ. How do you pronounce that, Luth? Just Saluki. 30 wins, 11 KOs for the middleweight title, WBC middleweight title, June 18th. Your thoughts on the fight?
Well, you know I'm high on the Charlos. This is the bigger twin. He doesn't have the big fights, and I wish he could have got a Triple G or a Bubu Andrade. I'm not excited about this fight. He should be fighting better competition.
Dude, Luther goes,
Step up to 168. Better Beef is there.
Yeah.
Not Better Beef, Benavidez is there.
Yeah.
Bubu Andrade's moving up. Caleb Plant is there. I got Charlo beating this guy. He'll knock him out 8th round. I'm not impressed with this fight at all. I need him to step up and take care of Caleb Plant and then go for Benavidez after this. Nothing at 160. Triple G's been hiding that belt forever. Won't fight him. He's sitting waiting for a Canelo fight. 160 is a weight division. These guys didn't unify.
Right.
They didn't fight each other. Everybody had a belt.
They want to move up.
And nobody would fight Charlo. Bubu Andrade, they wouldn't fight each other. It's just, I don't like what happened at 160.
With Andrade, I don't know if it was him. I don't think it was his decision. Whatever the reason why.
He was in the zone with Triple G and also Canelo. He never got either fight. I think Eddie Hearn did a disservice with his career.
And he's leaving.
He should have got that fight. I was
and even
disappointed.
Hearn said he's sorry that he couldn't. Paraphrasing, he couldn't do more for Andrade.
Yeah.
Well, I've
You're
said
the
this
manager.
a zillion.
You
can do it.
You didn't try.
Yeah, right.
He could have easily got him the Triple G or Canelo fight.
Right.
He didn't want it. I don't know if those guys didn't want to fight him.
I've said this numerous times, and again, we'll get Jimmy on. I don't want to get too personal as why Andrade didn't sign with Jimmy Birchfield, but he's in Rhode Island, guy right down the street, a guy who moves fighters well, a guy who's great with his fighters during their careers, after their careers, even when they left him. I'm gonna keep saying, I'm gonna keep banging the drum about Jimmy Birchfield, but he should have signed with him because I know he'd have moved him a hell of a lot more than he has. Because I think he's got all the tools.
He drank the Kool-Aid that Hearn was putting out here. Hey, I got $1 billion.
Well, it's bitter now.
I'm taking over the sport of boxing, and
He did, but not with you.
He didn't take it over.
Well, but you weren't part of that ride.
Right. But he sold him on it,
Yep.
and he jumped, and it was a bad loss.
You're one of your favorite fighters, Jamal Charlo, against Saluki. Your thoughts on the fight?
Well, we got two guys here that couldn't beat Triple G. Hey, listen.
Triple G looked horrible in his last fight.
Saluki is the only Polish-born male that was born with no Polish power. Ivan Pulski, he's mad right now, rolling over in his grave somewhere.
He's still living, but that's okay.
Is he still living? That was my man.
Jim
But I
will
tell
put
you
somebody in the
what,
grave in a minute. Jim.
I tell you what, man. This is a hand-picked opponent for Charlo.
Yeah.
This
I
guy,
agree.
this Saluki, man, he got a soft chin, he bald-headed. This guy's old, man. I tell you what, Charlo can take him out in any round he
used to
wants.
be
He can
redhead.
hit him with any punch he wants. I would have stripped Charlo of his
Why?
title before I would allow him to fight somebody like this, man. It's just gonna be another walkover, another hand-picked opponent. Now Luther said Charlo will entertain moving up.
Because nobody,
I wish
he
we
can't
could
get
get
the,
that. I
he
wish we
can't
could
get
get
the
that
big
wording
fights.
from Charlo. We're just getting it from you. You know what I mean? Just last show you said he's not 168.
He's
now
not. What is he
willing
fighting
to
at?
move up
What is he
to
fighting at?
168.
He's fighting at 160 this
so
fight.
every show you got a different spin on Charlo, but you can't help but to spin. He's fighting a guy with zero power.
Yeah.
He's fighting a guy that's old, and he's fighting a guy that's a shot fighter. So it should be interesting until Charlo knocks him out.
And you know what, though? We've talked about that with other fighters. Again, do you think it's the promoter who's putting them in against these type guys, or do you think it's the fighter? So, no, I want to fight the best. Or is he just making a buck and just keep saying I'm undefeated?
Well, what you got to remember a couple weeks ago, they put an offer out to Jamie Munguia, and that fight was
I
supposed
remember
to happen.
Charlo's never fight
And,
nobody.
well, can I finish, Jim?
I'm just
Let me
saying.
reclaim my time. Listen, and Oscar De La Hoya
Right,
blocked
Oscar,
that fight.
right.
So he's been trying to get these bigger fights, and people like Oscar didn't want to put their guys up because they knew they were going to catch an L. You can't make these people fight you.
32
He's going to have to go up 168.
Big fights. he couldn't get them in all 32 fights. He couldn't get one. Just one.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
But
And look,
there's plenty at 168.
Yeah, he could
There ain't
move up.
nobody backing him. There's people that's calling him the N-word at 168.
Jim,
But he ain't.
Jim, it's also
there's plenty up there.
you throwing your
There's plenty
pen.
up. There's
Listen,
work
Jim,
Now he
up
can't
there.
write in the
There's
notebook.
work up there.
He can't
Listen,
write in the
there is
notebook
work
now.
up there. But listen, also it's about he's with PBC. They don't have a lot of 160 pounders. Most of those guys are at the zone.
What
That's
page
what a
is
belt's
that
on.
in this
It
excuse
is.
book?
It's not an excuse if it's a fact, Jim. Facts over feeling. You don't like the Charlos, but facts.
No.
Keep
who
catching
do?
these L's.
Who do? You like them?
Did you like when they had red
I like
hair?
that undisputed.
All right.
They
Now,
got they're close to red here.
July
Orange here.
23rd in Saudi Arabia. What's that?
I said it's orange here.
Oh,
It's close
orange.
to what Jim likes.
July 23rd, Saudi Arabia. I think it's official.
Is it?
AJ versus Alexander Usyk. Everybody's waiting for this fight for a long time. It's going to be a big money fight without question. Luther, it's a rematch. Luther, your thoughts on the fight. Who do you like?
AJ
Won't be no
went
8
ar-
million.
AJ went around the world trying to look for trainers, and then he went back to the same guy.
Right.
I don't see anything different. I think Usyk schools him in boxing again. He may knock him out this time. AJ should have changed his training. I don't think anything's going to change. To beat Usyk, he's going to have to fight like a big guy. But in rematches, we know AJ likes to try to get on the back foot and box. I got
tax
Usyk.
bracket
I got Usyk winning in a 12-round decision. Look at this big guy on the ropes like that. That was embarrassing. Jim once again was wrong. He had AJ as one of the greatest fighters ever,
Hall of
and that
Famer.
got exposed.
You said he's a Hall of Famer, too.
That doesn't mean he's the greatest.
I don't
There's a
think
lot
he's a Hall
of
of Fame.
heavyweights that are going to be Hall of Fame, Jim. That doesn't mean they're the greatest. But I see Usyk winning another 12-rounder. I don't think AJ has got with another training team. I don't think he made the necessary adjustments, and I don't think he wants it anymore.
See, I don't even think it's the trainer and the adjustments. I think because when you're that big, that strong, that athletic, you can still. What do they say? Like in all sports, winning ugly. I think he could still win ugly. But the teams that win ugly, they win because they're passionate. They want it. They're hungry. I don't think he wants it. Again, Marvin Hagler had the great quote, "It's hard to go to bed with silk pajamas and wake up and go run at 5 in the morning." Okay. Because he never spoke with you.
Right.
But
we heard AJ talking about Larry Hoover and all these gangsters and all that.
I think he's
You know,
trying
when
to
you
get
start
himself
doing
psyched
that,
up.
you're
Am I
trying
right?
to get high. Yeah, exactly. And it's not in him. He's done.
I think he has it. But
I don't think so.
I think.
I think he's
I
lost
think with a big man
confidence.
like that, I think he can knock people out. He's a big boy. But
think
I
he's
just
lost
don't think
confidence.
he wants it. You make that kind of money. You're just hard to be hungry like that. Usyk is still hungry. I say Usyk in a decision. You say unanimous decision.
That's a unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you, unanimous decision, and I think he's going to win. But I don't really think it has anything to do with physicality. I just think does Usyk? Does AJ really want it? And after a while in boxing, it's hard towards the end. I don't want to say it's the end of his career, but after losses,
I
all the
think he
ups and
is.
downs, he said, "I
think he's done.
I got money. I got this beautiful house. I got a beautiful life. I have generational wealth, as John Calipari likes to call it at University of Kentucky. Hell with this, And I think it's going to be more of a unanimous decision. I think it's going to be a mental thing where he just didn't fire off. He's going to come in
Complete
great shape. He's going to look
domination.
good. Yeah.
Complete domination.
Well,
Jim?
one thing, AJ gonna make so much money he can loan Wilder a few.
Jim, man, you go
I'm
with this
just
pocket
saying,
watching.
Listen,
Is he going to win the fight? You don't get any of his pocket money.
I look at Usyk. What's his name?
Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, I look at him.
Yeah.
as Vander Holyfield without the 10 losses. This is an Olympic gold medalist. This is a great fighter. This is a Hall of Famer. Me personally, I've said this on the show before. I don't think it's the best matchup for AJ. I would have took a fight with Luis Ortiz.
That's all wrong
I'm
for
just
real.
saying.
Oh,
worse.
come on,
I
Jim.
think,
Jim?
I
You wanna
think
get
that
knocked
that
out?
would have been a blockbuster fight that everybody in America would want to see, everybody around the world would want to see. I think for the betterment of boxing, Those two giants should have been able to get together.
AJ was scared.
AJ
wouldn't fight him.
Well, AJ wanted to regain his titles, and he has an opportunity. There's so much money
No
in Saudi
opportunity.
Arabia. They won all the big name fighters except Wilder. They didn't want him.
Jim,
They didn't want
all
nobody.
right,
They got enough
Jim.
people wearing headphones over here. They didn't need another. But
You always try to slander Wilder, man.
but what I'm saying is, I think cream always rises to the top. It's hard. Gold
not
versus
cream.
gold. Gold medal in the Olympics versus gold medal in the Olympics.
Excuses. Just
I'm going to say, in a very close fight, I'm going to have to give it to AJ. AJ always
Another
seems to
L for
win-
Jim.
He always tends to win the rematches.
Yeah, but okay, about the
Another L
rematch
for
with,
Jim.
with Ruiz.
Ruiz came in 500 pounds.
Yeah, so did he win or did
All he-
Ruiz lose it?
Ruiz just trained his stomach. That's all he did. He didn't do any training for that.
Am I
fight.
right?
You're
did,
right.
Did he win it or did Ruiz
Ruiz
lose
lost it because he
So let's
didn't
not
train.
go crazy about him.
Yeah.
Like with Lennox, when he came back and
He
beat,
came in and took
he
those titles.
He beat those guys.
Lennox that fought to a draw to Holyfield. That Lennox.
That was a bad
It
decision.
got
Well,
robbed.
I
A
mean,
robbery.
It wasn't his fault.
And what up?
But you see
what
how-
happened in the rematch? He dominated him.
What I'm saying is, listen, I've always said that Usyk is a better fighter than Evander Holyfield. But I'm saying this now on the record. I'm not going to knock Ruiz because he never turned his back on his country like Usyk is.
Oh, gee.
Anyway,
listen, we're not talking about this
he
political
went,
crap.
His country's
Jim,
is in war.
he's a
He ain't
boxer.
gonna have a country to go back to.
He's a boxer, Jim. He's
they
he's
get
paid
ready
to
to get
box.
wiped out, and he fight.
Jim,
Luther,
you be the
He
first
shoulda
one
gave up
running.
his belt.
Did you join the army, Jim?
Pardon
Well,
me?
what are you talking about?
The
You joined-
Salvation Army got my picture
That's
up
all
in the hallway.
you talking about. You ain't joined the army,
Do I make a
Marines,
good
nothing.
point in saying Lennox, when he lost, when he'd be the
It was
first one to
peacetime.
run.
He'd be the first one
It
running
was
out.
peacetime.
When Lennox fought McCall and oh my God, who's the other loss?
yeah.
Rock
Rockman.
He
Rockman.
dominated those
He
second
came
fights.
back and destroyed him. That's how you want it.
What
He
he
didn't get
doing
on
the
the back
first
foot.
time? What he
Okay,
doing
he
He
got
got
caught.
caught.
He
It's
got
heavyweight
caught.
boxing, Jim.
Did Rocky Marciano ever get caught? Did
Jim.
Muhammad Ali ever get
got
caught?
caught.
Hey, listen, y'all don't want to give me credit for Valuev, the
he
7-footer. He's never been knocked down. He's
Okay.
he's a 2-time heavyweight champ.
That's
never
nice
been
for him.
knocked down.
That's nice for him.
And Lennox been
And who did
stretched
he beat?
twice.
Who
But
did he beat?
fight though?
He fought an old
He
over the hill
fought John
Evander.
Ruiz.
Who Roy Jones
He
destroyed.
fought
Evander was-
Evander Holyfield.
Evander was
He
older.
beat
Evander
Evander.
was a lot
old
older.
Evander.
A lot
He
older.
was old. Come on, Jim.
And
I
every
don't
time
think-
you
You're
turn
getting
around, it's
exposed.
old Vander. He just fought 2 weeks ago, but it's old Vander.
And we saw he couldn't even stand up. He
He
throwing
didn't
punches
go.
and
He
falling.
didn't go see his son fight because he's in training.
I've never
didn't wanna
been
see
as
his son get
high. I
knocked
know
out
you
again.
haven't been crazy about AJ, but you still think he's a Hall of Famer. You think he's a top 5 guy all the time.
Top
I-
six.
Top
Jim,
6.
Jim.
I think he could have been great for
Heavyweight.
boxing. You know, big personality, good look, but he just didn't pull
I
it off.
sure
And I-
talk about looks a lot.
But I think. Okay, let me ask you this about AJ. Do you think he's been a disappointment?
Yes, I thought he could have had a much better career.
That's my
But
point.
he's listening to people like Jim who hyped him up while he was ducking fights and moving a certain way. He should have fought Wilder. He should have fought Fury by now. He should have fought Ortiz. They
All right,
moved him a
I gotta
certain way
interrupt you.
away from fighting these guys.
He mentioned Ortiz. I think Ortiz knocks him out.
Ortiz destroys him at this
I
point.
knew I wanted to ask your
Ortiz
opinion on
is
that.
50, 60 years old, and he still destroys AJ right now.
Do you think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, everybody in Ortiz's family be crying this time, not just his daughter.
But I had to get that to you. I mean, interrupt you. I had to get it to you because I knew, which I wanted to hear your thoughts about the Ortiz fight. But then I asked Luther if he feels that AJ has been a disappointment. I do thus far. Now, before I ask, do you think he has a chance to redeem himself? And
No.
You don't think he has a chance?
No, Usyk
still a young man.
Usyk is going to. He's got exposed, Claudio. I mean, we saw him quitting the
But
fight.
if he turns it up, though,
He doesn't have it, Claudio. Sometimes you got to admit these guys don't have it. AJ, I never thought he had it. Well, I think he may go in the Hall of Fame just because he was a unified champ for a couple years.
Thank you.
I never thought he had it. He was just moved a certain way, and they avoided certain people.
Right.
The Wilder, the Ortiz, the Furies. But Usyk's going to dominate him again, and it'll just be a punching
He
bag.
signed with Fury, but Wilder wanted to Wilder didn't.
Oh,
step aside.
Jim, everybody knows that was fake news, man. Come on. That fight was never going to happen.
People in Saudi Arabia didn't know it.
Now, has he been I hope, answer me honestly. Right now, is
won't admit
AJ
it.
a
He won't admit
disappointment to you? Because you thought the world of him.
Jim, you said he was number one all
Yeah.
time.
No,
I
obviously,
always had him top 6.
right
No,
now, even
Jim,
still
you
right
had
now.
him, you had him number one.
I had Jack Johnson, Rocky Marciano, Cassius Clay ahead of him.
Jim,
No, you had him number
you
one.
had him number
No,
one.
I've
Checking
always
that
had
book.
him-
Jim, look
I
at the
always
book.
had him
We
book.
got you on
Did I
tape.
ever have him ahead of Rocky?
Yes,
think you did.
No.
yes, you did.
Cassius Clay, no. We never rated the 60s and the 50s and the 40s.
Well, you
No,
said
we
he
did
was
all
number one
time.
all time, and you had him number one at one point.
never.
And now you have
Never.
Fury
That's
number one
how
all time.
misunderstood the question.
Well, that happens a
But
lot.
I've always
Let's
had,
check that book
I've
out.
always
Give
had-
Luther the book.
I've
Right.
always had Rocky number 1 until now, and I got Tyson Fury number 1 and Cassius Clay number 3.
I just think he's been a disappointment. I expected him, especially after the Klitschko fight. I said he's going to catch some steam. He's going to catch some momentum, fight everybody. He had a shot to
Mike
clean the
Tyson
division.
been a disappointment?
Mike
Larry-
Tyson,
Okay,
Larry
Mike
Holmes
Tyson
is
is a
a-
legend.
No, not Larry
That
Holmes.
got beat by Michael
No.
People
Spinks
still
twice?
No.
listen. People still talk about Mike Tyson because
Yeah.
he was so dominant.
I'm not going to say
Nobody's going to
disappointed.
be talking about
I'm
AJ
going to say
like that.
he
What
could
are you
have
talking
done.
about?
Maybe some obstacles he had to overcome. I think he could have done even better. But I'm not going to say Tyson's
Can I ask
disappointment.
one question? How often do they talk about Mike Tyson at the Olympic convention? I haven't heard any
We're not
word.
talking, Jim. You're
No,
all
he's
over
a
the
gold
place.
medalist.
Listen,
He's a gold medalist.
Who? Mike Tyson?
No, AJ.
That's
He's gold
good.
Yeah,
medalist.
but we're not
Olympic.
talking about that.
No, you
Dwayne
said-
Bobbitt.
Claudio, think about this. Now,
Dwayne was silver.
Jim,
Okay,
Mike
let's do it.
Tyson, when you talk about a heavyweight, he was a shorter fighter with short arms.
Was he
What
disappointment?
What he
still an
accomplished,
icon.
what he accomplished was amazing.
Is he an
Because-
icon? Yes.
Yes.
Danny
You look at his
Williams?
measurables.
Oh, but that was towards
Jim,
the
I'm just saying.
Jim, there's no
I'm-
comparison.
I'm
Don't
not
compare
saying-
AJ
How many
to Mike
fighters?
Tyson.
How many
Get outta
fighters
here,
their
Jim.
last 2-3
Jim,
fights besides a Marciano and guys like that you don't remember them about their last
Yeah,
fights?
that's what he was doing.
Ali.
Well, 32 years ago was Buster Douglas. That was in the.
That was
Okay,
a great
yeah,
upset.
yeah.
That was
Okay, that was
But
a
I'm
great
talking about
upset.
you can't go Sugar Ray in his last couple of fights. You can't go Larry Holmes his
Or
last couple
Ali,
of fights.
his
Or
last
Ali,
couple.
you
No,
can't
what
do
I'm
it.
saying is, I
Tyson.
don't believe Tyson's a
Evander.
disappointment. But
No.
you guys are talking about AJ's a disappointment. How can you say that?
We saw the man quit.
There's no level.
We saw
There's
the
no
guy let a
comparison.
cruiserweight come
But
up
he
and bully him.
wait,
We saw that
he did that in the prime of his career. Tyson did it
at the end.
Buster
Right.
beat the
Buster-
hell out of him. Buster
in
was a
his
good.
prime.
Buster was damn good.
Buster
though.
got him.
Buster was damn good.
He
but
didn't quit.
Tyson
Did he
lost
quit?
those fights
Did he quit?
at the end.
Tyson
Right,
tried
no,
to get up.
no.
We saw
wait,
AJ.
no.
We
No,
saw
no, no,
AJ
AJ
quit
did that in the
New
prime of
York.
his career.
Was he
In the prime.
counting out, getting his mouthpiece? Maybe
He
if he
didn't
was
quit.
reaching
He
for his
tried to
mouthpiece.
get up.
Was he
And he
counted
did
out?
knock
He
him
didn't-
down in the 10th.
Was he,
Exactly.
was he counted out?
Or
Was AJ ever counted out?
AJ quit. AJ quit. Your boy you
Wilder
said was
quit.
top 5.
No,
He
Wilder
quit. No,
quit.
Wilder
When did
never
Wilder
quit.
quit?
What are you talking
He
about?
got knocked out twice.
He
didn't
didn't
quit.
knock out.
ever
He
get-
got up.
He didn't
He
quit.
got up. The
He got
referee
mad at
stopped
his
it.
trainer. He fired him. And then the third fight, I said I've always
he
respected
fired.
him, but I think he gained, for me, more respect because he was half out of it, and
That's
he's
for
still,
you.
but he still knocked Fury down, and he was half
really-
out of it. Am I right
really,
or wrong?
Yes, really. If they would have counted right, he could have got a KO victory.
But
Man,
Tyson,
Fury was down for 20
Y'all
seconds.
just-
But
y'all just
AJ,
hate
this was in his
AJ.
so-called
Y'all just hate
prime.
AJ should have had a better career.
Yeah.
They moved him a certain way because they knew his
Did
limitations.
Wilder fight Ruiz or Usyk?
Jim, what are you
was
talking about?
busy
He fought
fighting
everybody.
Fury.
He fought
And Ortiz
everybody.
twice,
Did
which
he
was
fight
a
you?
risk.
Everybody.
Was
Did
he
fighting
fight
Ortiz.
He just turned pro and he
was
was tied up
fighting.
with
You know what
Fury.
Wilder could have done, Luther? Ortiz could hit. He said, "I'm not fighting him again," but
Right.
he did fight him.
He fought
again.
him twice. The boogeyman in the heavyweight division. He's the only one who fought him twice.
And Ortiz
Everybody else
did
is
well
40.
against him.
And
Right.
he ain't won a fight in 4 years. That
Who?
guy, Wilder.
No, Jim, he lost to a guy that had his number. Sometimes that happens.
I would
As
love to
boxing
see a
authority,
Wilder
I think you would
AJ
understand
fight.
that, Jim.
And let me ask you a quick question. What's better for boxing, Usyk winning or AJ? Because I would love to see AJ fight Fury or Wilder. I'm with you there. I think AJ is more of an attraction. I think there are people clamoring to see Usyk Wilder, Usyk maybe Fury. But I think a lot of people want to see a big man like AJ fight Fury or Wilder.
I don't like the question, first of all. But I do think AJ versus Fury would be a bigger fight than Usyk versus Fury.
What's wrong with the question?
Because, better for boxing?
Yes.
Better for boxing is the best guy wins, and that's Usyk.
No, the
But
better for
AJ
boxing is the more eyes.
AJ and Fury, those guys have been linked together for years.
Okay, let me ask you
Usyk
this,
has
let me
never
say
got
this.
that hype behind him.
You're the reason why boxing is down.
No.
Now, when
you
Sugar
two
Ray,
trying to move certain
let me
guys
ask
a
you a question.
certain
When
way.
Sugar
I
Ray
want the
came
best
back,
to fight the best.
Okay, when Sugar Ray came back in '87,
Which
April, when he fought Hagler, was he number one contender? No. Who was number one contender that time? I don't remember, but it sure as hell wasn't Sugar Ray.
Right.
What moved the needle? Sugar Ray.
Sugar Ray.
You see what I'm trying to say? So it isn't just the best boxer, because we didn't know what Sugar Ray was going to bring to the table.
AJ's
he hadn't
not
fought
the
in a couple
best
years.
boxer,
He
man.
may have.
Did Peebo Bryson sing the anthem?
It doesn't matter because Usyk is going to win anyway. So
I would think
that's all.
I would
That's
think
all
so.
for not.
I would think so.
Who did Lynn Swan's first wife remarry? She married somebody famous. Too.
You know what about that? I know Peebo and Lynn Swan and Sugar Ray Leonard, like they're somehow
Yeah, it's
they're
all
connected.
connected,
Yeah, I don't know how the hell that happened, but we'll let you
I thought there were
investigate
7 billion people in the world, but they all went for the same
that.
woman.
Same one.
You're the relationship guy, Jim.
Oh.
You look at man's lips and all that stuff, Jim.
I'm Dr. J.
Dr. J, relationship J.
Now, a fight that
Kevin
you
Samuels.
mentioned, a fight that you mentioned real quickly, a possible Keith Thurman, Boots Ennis. I'd love to see that fight, but I think Boots.
Thurman wants no parts of
No.
Boots Ennis.
He says he does.
His ribs won't. We've seen Mario Barrios hit him in the rib and he spit out his mouthpiece.
Right.
What happens when Boots hits him? You know, he might run out of the ring.
yeah.
So yeah, Thurman wants no parts of Boots Ennis. Boots is the real deal. I got him. He can compete with anybody at welterweight. I predict he's going to be undisputed at welterweight and 154. The
Your
first
thoughts on
guy to
that
do
fight?
it.
Well, he's been getting a soft touch so far, so Boots. So
I think this would be a
continue,
signature fight.
Yeah, continue with a soft approach.
It's Keith
Do you agree it
Thurman.
could be a signature fight for Boots?
Yeah, a classic knockout.
Yeah, I'm with you.
body shots to Keith Thurman. Yeah.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, our popular segment, Boxing Mailbag. Please continue to send your great questions and comments. We're not going to have time for the Gaddy Ward trilogy, but we're going to get that another time. On the script, we had Gaddy Ward trilogy. We got to give it more time. But continue to send it to boxingmailbag@yahoo.com and continue to send them to my show and the Claudio Relsano show. Thank you so much. You guys are a big part of the show. All right, Jim, this is Casey from Nevada. Why don't you like Hall of Famers Ken Norton and Marvin Hagler?
I love Marvin
he's a hater.
Hagler. He was just a blue-collar overachiever that fought in a weak middleweight division era. But
Disrespect.
I don't like Kenny Norton because
Disrespectful.
he was a black Chippendale that got credit for being a boxing Hall of Famer, and he wasn't.
All right. This is for
Black
me.
Chippendale.
This is for me, Johnny from Erie. You said you like Cooney and Norton. Who did you think would win the fight between Cooney and Norton, and why? Norton always had a hard time with big punchers. Now, if you let him get on you, then he had a shot. But when you stalked him and got on him first, George Foreman obviously was the blueprint for Jerry Cooney, and that's what Cooney did. Cooney went after him. Now, there was one part in the corner that Norton tried to get Cooney in the corner, but Jerry had a great pivot. He got Norton in the Cooney. Damn it, Norton in the corner. And he just went all out. We're going to ask Jerry about that move too. But I thought Jerry was just too big of a puncher, and Cooney and Norton was on his way down.
Kenny Norton never liked his son's wife. That's why they fell out.
Jim, all right, man. You in everybody's bedroom and all these relationships, Jim.
Oh man, that's why I say throws you a curve when he kind of gets you off. I think he was going to say something about the fight.
JMZ stuff.
I'm telling you. All right. As always, we hope you enjoy our show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you, and we really do. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities.